Hey everyone, it's Ryan from the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Welcome back to the Smokin' Studios, everybody. We've got our last show of the year, and I really hope you guys are all ready for this. We've got hold on, let me turn on my chat. Sorry, my chat wasn't turned on. Turn on the chat. All right, so if you're chatting, it'll all catch it now. We've got a leaf ashtray. We've got a 2-leaf ashtrays. We've got a crystal ashtray. We also have 4 mugs, and we have a sign just like that to send out to you guys as well. So you're going to be having various drawings throughout the night. I will give everybody words to put in for the drawings, and all you got to do is put in exactly what I say. It's really simple, everybody. Don't make it longer or shorter, just exactly what I say. They're super complex too. So everyone's working tonight for at least one of them, and I've got a long one for one of them. So without any other further ado, because nobody really ever comes here to look at me, everyone's coming here to see Steve tonight. So let's go ahead and bring in the SakaClaus himself, all the way from Nika. How you doing,
Oh my
brother?
god. Hey man, your enthusiasm. I can't match that. Got a long work day. Let's see what we can do here, but my God.
Well, I tell you what, I just I love this. I love doing this show. It's going to be 5 years come
Really,
February.
5 years.
5 years come February. Yeah, I
You're
can't
not you're
believe
not
it.
ready to throw in the towel yet.
No, because I'm still just having fun. And
Really? Oh my
I
God.
truly am. I tell you what, I shared with you beforehand the year I've had.
Yeah.
And this show and the people that watch this show and honestly reach out to me, there's several of you, you know exactly who you are, that reach out to me when when there's no show and I didn't say it, that they're making sure I'm
Uh,
okay or what's going on. So, I truly love doing this. Plus I like talking to everybody. I mean, I've got Michael Knowles coming on next year. So
oh
I've got a
wow.
2-hour episode with Knowles, and in fact, uh, they already sent me his Pocahontas for his show, which is
Oh God.
so it's the Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas, but he
Dude.
signed it right there. So I've got some stuff going on. I've got Jeff Allen, who I didn't even realize was a cousin of mine. Steve, do you know who Jeff Allen is? Have you ever heard of him? He's a comedian.
I've heard of him, but I'm not very familiar.
I'm not either. He's my cousin. I had no idea. He's my mom's cousin, my grandmother's brother's son. So
So that
like
makes you
so my
wait. I
second
never could.
cousin.
I was gonna
Second
say I never
cousin.
could figure out the math. Second cousin, right?
Yeah, second cousin. I didn't even know this for like the last until about 10 years ago when the family started to reconnect. I guess his dad was just an awful, awful human being. So I get to figure that out. I've never even met his dad at all. So yeah, I'm lining up quite a kind of a fun run of shows. We've got Mo Cason coming back with another RML show in March, with doing some cooking of some steaks from the company that
Right.
was right next to you, Brunson Meats over. So yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I,
Yeah.
I I've had I'm living it up here on the
You're
show. I'm having a
living the
good time. I'm having a
dream. The
good time.
dream.
And then I get to bring you on and talk to people like you. Look at that smile, Steve. I mean, come on. Like, who wouldn't want to have you on to see that
Oh,
smile?
yeah,
So,
right.
but I tell you what,
Mm.
we're gonna go to the only actual segment of the show that we have, which is the What Are You Smoking Tonight, sponsored by Steve Saka himself, Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Steve, what are you smoking and drinking tonight?
I am drinking. You gotta understand, I'm in Nico, so I'm raiding Gustavo's bar, and Gustavo thinks that Johnny Walker Black is like the best thing on the planet. So pretty much what you end up getting out of Gus's bar is pretty much whatever he's gifted. So, and I didn't bring anything because he has. I'm like the cleanup hitter when I come to his place. I'm the one that like drains the bottles that nobody else is willing to drink. But we're to the point now that like we pulled out like 4, and they're so bad that even I am unwilling to drink them. So I ended up opening this bottle of Glenmorangie, the Elementa.
Glenmorangie is a really great Scotch. I mean,
I
it's an
don't know
iconic.
that I don't know if I've ever had this particular one,
I have not.
but it's a hell of a lot better than the other shit. And I was actually talking to him like, Gus, why don't you just pour this down the sink? No, if I'm unwilling to drink it, you're never going to find anyone that's willing to drink this shit. And he goes, no, the doctor's coming over for dinner tonight, so I'm gonna get him to drink it because all he ever does is drink all my shit, and he doesn't know the difference. So Doc is in there right now, drinking some Highland Park, which some of the Highland Park's good, but he's got this crazy bottle, Spirit of the Bear or something, and it literally tastes like soap. It's like literally
Ooh.
like it's soapy. It's disgusting. I don't even know what the deal is. I mean, maybe one of your listeners have had it before and they can give us a better report on it. But all I tasted was Dawn dish soap when I tasted it.
That
And then
sounds
smoking,
awful.
I'm smoking Leche Burra with the actual real band on it, not the pre-release band.
Nice.
So I'm smoking an official Leche Burra.
Well, we're both smoking something special because this guy has been patiently waiting, not patiently, exhaustively waiting for this episode. So that way I could come over here to my deep cuts that I bought from Smokin'. I know these are flying off the fucking shelf.
And you're gonna smoke the word of Saka.
I am. Are you kidding me? I have been like looking forward to this. So tell everybody what this is that for some reason doesn't know yet.
Yeah, because I haven't published any information. I haven't had any time, man. I've been going like crazy. I mean, it's one of the few times that I put out a cigar and didn't tell anybody about it. Uh, so the word of Saka, the reason why it's in the deep cut sampler is because there's one particular tobacco in it that comes from a pilot crop from about 3 years ago. And there wasn't enough of it to actually do any real production. So there was only enough to make about a little over 3,000 cigars. So even if you put that in a 10 count box, that's only 300, and that's just not enough. So um, putting it in the deep cut sampler was a really, really good way to go with it. So I don't even know if I'm really, oh, great. I'm bringing up all the wrong stuff. I just brought up the costings. I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Let me see
Yeah,
here.
you are. We can actually see your whole inventory.
You
No,
see,
I'm
you
just
see,
kidding.
see. I know. You can see everything.
Everything,
Yeah,
everything.
everything.
Well,
Good God.
tonight I am washing this. I am a few puffs in and very happy with it so far. Down with,
Well,
of course, in
the thing
bar.
is, I think it's going to be a lot smoother than most people are expecting.
I was
It's
expecting a little bit punchier, but I had heard that it was
no,
not as
no, no,
punchy
no,
as
no,
people were expecting.
no. It's actually it's a pretty mellow broadleaf blend.
It is.
I mean, but look, it'll pick up in the back half, but it's not to look. I made some real barn burners this year. I mean, we made Fiddlehead, which has got quite a bit of body to it. We definitely Kanalam had a tremendous amount of body in it. We obviously had Frotanga, and man, I can't even keep track of what we made this year. We made so many
Furtanga
different
is
things.
amazing, and I actually was
Yeah, but
my buddy Tim Watson, who I think you know.
mhm.
He's one of Derek's friends. He was gracious enough. Derek Johnson, shout out Tim, shout out. Um, Tim was nice enough to give me one of the fiddleheads, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
Fiddlehead was
awesome.
really good. But yeah, it's a Connecticut broadleaf. It's a Mexicano binder, and then it's got two undisclosed fillers right now. One of them being the new one, and another one, the farmer I promised I wouldn't talk about until he can sell more of it. And then it's got some Ometepe, and it's got some Cofradía Lajero, and it's got a base of an Esteli Gran Seco. But it's actually, and the thing about it is, even though it has a Sin Compromiso band on it, it's got zero relationship to Sin Compromiso, none whatsoever. In fact, it only has one tobacco in it that's the same as Sin Compromiso. The wrapper on Sin Compromiso is the binder on that cigar. So yeah, it's totally disconnected from the other.
Well, oh, that's but yet it's good enough to be in that line in the lineage of Sin
Well,
Compromiso.
yeah,
So
it fits in Sin Compromiso. And the other thing too is, so one of the things that's happened this year in Nicaragua is the laws have gotten, the regulations have gotten much more complex at the local level. So I've been forced to co-register all my brands at both factories. And I'm also required by law within a certain period to export cigars with those brand names from those factories. So therefore, Sin Compromiso is traditionally and been exclusively made at Hoyt in Nicaragua. Well, here's something with the Sin Compromiso name that's been made at Noxa to meet that legal requirement. This is the type of stuff consumers don't have to worry about. But it's the type of shit I have to deal with all the time. So I needed a Sin Compromiso to come out of Noxa. So this ends up meeting my necessary requirement for the exportation license for the consolidated containers. And again, it's a lot of gobbledygook that nobody gives a rat's ass about, but it's all problems that have to be solved.
well, you're a big problem of yours, from what I saw today in Nika, was solved, or at least a step in the right direction. Can you kind of, for those
Yeah,
of you that don't know, a huge thing just happened within the tariff side where it looks like cigars were carved out. Simple
yeah.
layman's
Well,
terms.
it wasn't actually cigars being carved out. So we still have the Trump tariff in place, which is the 18%
Hmm.
tariff. So that's still going on. In fact, we'll have a price increase because of that tariff because we never took the tariff increase for the 18%. But we had a separate issue about 6 weeks ago. The USTR published a paper on Nicaragua, and in short, for a variety of reasons, some may be legit, some a little, for lack of better word, trumped up. I don't mean it in a political sense. I'm just saying using the word Trump the way it's out of the dictionary. Um, they were basically making a proposal that potentially we could go to 100% tariff on all Nicaraguan goods.
Hmm.
And then there was a comment period where all the various industries that are affected, textiles and coffee and us and minerals and everything else, had the opportunity. And the USTR on December 10th, which was yesterday, published their final recommendation. And what they ended up doing is they basically are kind of putting Nicaragua on notice saying, hey, these are the problems that we see. These are the things we need you to address. But we are going to charge you a 0% tariff for 2026. But then in 2027, it'll be a 10% tariff. And then in 2028, it'll be an 18% tariff. And that's in addition to the existing 18% tariff, with the exception goods that are covered under CAFTA DR are exempt from this thing currently.
Well,
And
that's good.
tobacco and cigars are under CAFTA. So we are not currently in this escalating tariff thing. But again, like everything with governments, it's with an asterisk on it saying can be changed at any time without any notice. So yes, it appears that we have dodged the 100% tariff. It appears that we are going to be fine probably for another year. But depending on how the relations are between Nika and the United States, who knows where we'll be a year from now, or who knows where we'll be next Thursday. This is it's been such a crazy year. I mean, even on the base reciprocal tariff, I just call it the Trump tariff because everyone knows what I'm talking about that way. I mean, we went from 0 to 10 to 19, back to 10. Now we're at 18, right? So that's just been in the last 6 months. We've had these various tariff assessments. We never actually got assessed the 19. The 18 didn't exist long enough the first time around for it to be assessed, but the second 18, they've been banging us with that one for the last 90 days.
Well,
So
SCOTUS
yeah.
might overturn that too. And if that's the
Well, that
case, you get a refund. So then are you going to give us all a
no,
refund?
slow down.
I'm
You will
just
not get
kidding.
it. You
I'm
will
just
not
kidding.
get a refund.
Th- That was one of the things
Uh,
that SCOTUS brought
yeah.
up was how hard would it be to pay that tariff back?
Well, let me say this. So, like, look, the FDA regulation, we're no longer being charged user fees anymore, right?
Mhm.
User fees were never a large deal. User fees depended on the volume in a given year. So in a low water year, we were paying about 4.5 cents a cigar. In a thin year, we were paying closer to 10 cents a cigar. Now, those have been overturned. We're no longer paying them. But in order to recoup those user fees, each company has to individually sue the US federal government and win
Mhm.
in order to recoup those user fees,
Yeah.
right? So, and right now, there are companies that are already attempting to do so, but the FDA has been basically kicked back down to the lower court for him to finalize the ruling on what a premium handmade cigar is.
Mhm.
So even that, which supposedly is done and we're due a refund, you're still not even allowed to sue yet for the refund. So, I mean, best case scenario is maybe 5 years from now, the first company, it'll probably be Oliva or SDG or Altus, one of the big ones, Drew Estate, Swisher, they will win. And for little Dunbarton, we can't afford to file the lawsuit because the amount of user fees we collected aren't enough over the course of because those user fees kicked off in August of 2016 and they ran all the way until the meta decision, which I don't even know, it was like end of 23 ish. So we paid them for like a good 6, 7 years. We need for one of the bigger people to win to set the precedent, which will then make it easier to go for a summary judgment because we can't afford to climb that initial hill. Now, when you're STG and you're owed millions and millions of dollars, yeah, you spend a few $100,000 to fight the federal government to recoup the user fee. It makes sense. But for us, it doesn't make sense at all. We would spend more trying to fight for it than just ignoring it and just it's in the past, it's over, it's done, it's non-existent.
So let me
And, I,
ask you on that point really
and, I,
quick.
and let me
Oh,
and let me
go
go
ahead,
back
go
to the
ahead.
tariff thing. So even if the tariff goes to zero, I'm just telling consumers the prices aren't going to go down. There's no
Of
way for
course
the
not.
prices to go down. And let me explain why. The problem you have is I have inventory in my warehouse that I pay tariff on.
Mhm.
The retailers have inventory in all their stores that they've paid the tariff number on.
Yep.
So for us to reduce the price is actually going to hurt the retailer who spent more money. And it's also going to end up it's going to end up making the stuff that I already paid the tariff on. Now, what will happen though is if the tariff does go away, it means that you won't get additional price increases. It'll slow down the price increases, right? Because look, I think it's a misnomer. Nobody on the manufacturer end likes the price increases. They don't help us. The price increases just go to pay for inflation or to pay for tariffs or to pay for user fees. It isn't like the higher prices are padding us on our end. So there's no value for us in higher prices, right? All it does is slow down sales, potentially get a customer that smoked your brand to no longer smoke your brand to smoke a lesser cost cigar. So there's no value. But to roll back the prices is like almost impossible. I think the only people that probably could would be like the really super teeny tiny people that just have no inventory in their own warehouse or have very much inventory on the store shelves. They would be the ones. But again, it'll all get offset because look, this whole thing where we do these annual, some companies were doing price increases 3 times a year.
Yeah, I was saying
Many of the
2, 3.
larger ones were doing twice a year.
Mhm.
Almost everybody was doing once a year. But that isn't the way it used to work. The way it used to work is we would typically have a price increase like once every 3 years because you'd have about 3% inflation. And that 3% would chip away, chip away, chip away. And then, like every 3 years, you would then take a price increase to back to get yourself to even, right? So I think that if the tariff was to go to zero, I think unless inflation goes bonkers again, which it may well, because we all know that our government's going to print trillions and trillions of more dollars, right? We know they're going to. Um, we'll see what happens. But assuming that inflation stays around 3 points, and if the tariffs go away, I think you're going to find that. I think you're going to find that price increases are going to pretty much stop for a good amount of time. And the other thing too is you have to understand as a consumer, most companies don't raise the price 18% because there's an 18% tariff. Basically, for a 10% tariff, my actual cost runs about 3.87%. So that was actually what my last price increase was 3.87%, because that equals what a 10% tariff actually was truly costing me. So like I said, we don't profit on these tariffs. They're just bad for everybody.
Oh, they're
Nobody,
bad all
I
around.
guess I think the only person that you could argue that they're good for is the government, right? The government gets to collect more money. Regardless of how many ways people want to dissect it, and it's an alternative method of taxation.
100%.
And look, and the other thing too is, when you have this conversation about reciprocal tariffs, part of it also has to do with how the countries gets funded. So, like for example, in Nicaragua, they don't have income tax, right? They don't have sales tax. So tariffs are their mechanism of how they raise money for the government, right? Where in the United States, we have corporate tax, we have income tax, we have all these other things, sales tax, and all of these things, property taxes, right? So the tariff is really just another tax on top of taxes we already pay. And that's why, when somebody says to me, well, yeah, but Nicaragua has a 32% import tariff. Yes, they do. Well, 32 on some things, 38 on others. But it's how the entire government NICA gets funded, right? Because they don't have any other tax mechanism. So, like I said, these are very complex conversations that are impossible to have in a Facebook social media kind of thing. And in the end, I get it. Consumers wish the prices weren't so high. I don't disagree with you. I don't like the prices being high either. I don't like them being high on anything. I don't like them being high on houses. I don't like them being high on cars. I don't like them being high on gas. I don't like them being high on. I haven't bought a fucking pound of ribeye for a penny less than $20 in forever.
I
You
can't
know what I mean?
believe that. Even the Packers are like, there's almost minimal distinction between Packer per pound price. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about when I say Packer, if you look at like a brisket or sometimes the whole loin or the whole rib roast, it'll come in like a cryo pack that's done in an industrial level. That's a cryo pack. That's what I mean by a whole packer. Those used to be about half the cost. Because
That's about
again,
right.
if most people don't know this, the more a butcher touches the piece of meat, the more the meat costs. So the more they have to
Right.
touch it, the more they have to charge for it. So when you buy the whole packer, you cut your own
Yeah,
steaks.
because
I used to buy them for like
look,
$7 a pound.
right, well, because you got to understand they're trimming that packer out, so so you've got the waste that comes off. It's not only just the mechanics of them having to cut
Sure.
it and individually package it, but it's also the trimmings, right? The trimmings now they got to do something with the trimmings. They got to make something else, whatever. Some of it goes to scrap, some of it goes wherever. But yeah, like, I know for me, like my local meat market is Sully's. It's just a local grocery store. And I used to pretty much get a 16-ounce ribeye for right around $12 for a really good cut of meat. Right now, they've been pretty much the cheapest I've seen is like 21, and I paid like 24. So
Yeah, it's
I mean,
it's it's ridiculous.
some things have come down. Eggs have come down a bit. Milk has come down. Gas has definitely come down.
I'm
So that part is
below
good.
$2 I saw here the other day. Like a
Yeah.
dollar ninety
So
nine and 9 tenths. Is that really
mm,
below $2?
yeah, I haven't seen that yet. But I mean, we were bumping up near the $5 number a few years back, and now we're definitely in the low threes pretty much everywhere, and sub threes in other places. So
Yeah, right here. Ted says that he started selling a barbecue, and in 2021, Packer briskets were $1.79 a pound, and now they're $6 a pound. That's about right. I think I saw $4.99 or $5.99 at Costco the other day. Yeah. I mean, everything's just gone up. Like the term affordability's float around so much. But I wanted to ask you really quickly on the government issue when you had said that you can't sue the government, or it wouldn't behoove you
we can't we
to
can't we
sue the
can't do a
government.
class action suit against the government. You have to do it as an individual party. So the government is very smart in this way. To dissuade you for suing the government, what they end up doing is they don't make it to where you can collectively sue the government in the class action suit. They make each individual injured party have to generate their own lawsuit.
Correct. And don't you think it's a little bullshit that they charge such minuscule amounts for the standpoint of it's actually going to cost you more to get it back? Like I think that's I think that's a little bullshit that they do stuff like that. Like, oh, you're not going to fight for
Hey,
this
look,
10 grand.
if we're gonna start talking about bullshit in
Oh, there's
government, we're here
tons
all
of it.
night.
There's tons of
I
it.
mean, come
But I'm
on.
saying that's just one little thing that's always bothered me. It's like, yeah, it's going to cost you more to get it back. Do you want it?
And they know it's just the same way as everybody knows that you're not going to cancel that $1.99 subscription every month because it's so much hassle to cancel the $1.99. You just let it float forever until
Yeah.
one day you get a wild hair up you and you go, you know what? I'm going to cancel 42 things this month that I don't need and I don't use. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, yeah, it's set up intentionally to be difficult because they know that if it's difficult, you won't do it. And guess what? They're right because we probably the government our total over the 7 years in user fees was probably close to around $300,000. So it's a good chunk of
It's a
change.
lot.
Um, but to initiate a lawsuit to be on the tip of the spear, there's no way we'd spend a penny less than 180 to 200K, right? So
Yeah,
then
if
it
not
just does,
more.
and it's not just the money; it's your time. You know what I mean? So the right course of action is to wait till they give a final ruling, let the big companies go out and fight the battle. Then when the big companies start winning, which they
You
will,
got precedent.
they'll get their money, then there'll be a precedent. And then it might be 20K to file for a summary judgment on it because there will already
Correct.
be case history. And
Correct.
then it'll make sense, right? But and who knows if that'll ever come? I mean, and look at the way the dollar's going, by the time at the rate we're going, $300,000 is going to be worth a quarter, $1.50, right? I mean, they're just going to keep printing. They're going to just keep printing fiat until we're all broke. So,
I know.
yeah,
That's the scary side of kind of everything that's going on too, right? But um let's go ahead and do our
it's the reason why what silver today was like $63.
I cannot believe silver blew up this year. Like
Oh,
blew up this year.
and again,
Um
it's not that these things are becoming worth more. It's just that
no.
the dollar's becoming worth
Yeah.
less.
It's
That's
actually
that's that,
awful that they're that expensive because that
yeah.
means our money is that much
Yeah,
less
well, I always tell
valuable.
people in 1920, you could get a bespoke man suit made for one gold coin. Guess what? A bespoke man suit today costs between $3,500 and $4,500. Guess what? That's still one gold coin. So the gold actually has the same value that it had 100 years ago. It's not that gold has gone up in value; it's that the dollar's gone down in value. That's the problem. That's the problem with everything. It's a problem of the dollar being devalued, and it gets devalued because we just keep printing more money, and as they print more money, every dollar we all have in our bank accounts becomes worth less, and that's the reason why everything is so expensive. It's not. All of these things are. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Here's what I know. I know that I like to smoke cigars, and I know I like to drink booze, and I just have to find a way to earn enough money to keep my habits alive, and that's all there is to it. And I know that I'm not going to change anything. So
Oh, to your point though, like my grandfather, and the only reason why we know this definitively outside of my grandfather telling this to us before he passed was he kept the bill of receipt. 34 silver dollars for a brand new Colt Trooper Mark II handgun in the 70s,
there you go.
which today that thing would probably be around $1,000 if you were to actually buy one of those new.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean it's absolutely insane the way that you look at Snickers. A small Snickers. I was growing up. Small Snickers was 50 cents. Now the
Yeah.
small Snickers is $2.
Dude, you put a quarter in a soda machine, you got a can of Coke. Now you're putting $3 with your credit card to get a damn bloody Coke out of a damn machine.
You're
I mean, it's
swiping.
like, yeah, I mean, it's like again, it's a devaluation of the currency. That's the reason why the prices are the way they are. And
Absolutely.
I don't see anything about the way the current monetary system works that's going to change that. I really don't. What you're hoping, the only hope is that there's a salary adjustment where people get to make more to get that better back in line. And the other thing too, though, is we're also very different. I was talking to somebody today. So when I was a kid, I never ate in a restaurant. In fact, I remember the one time as a kid I ate in a restaurant. It was my 16-year-old birthday. My parents took me to a sit down restaurant, and my brother and sister couldn't come because it was too expensive. Look, you had one winter jacket, you had one pair of sneakers, you had one pair of dress shoes, and you had one pair of winter boots.
Hmm.
That's what you had, right? I mean, we didn't. I mean, we didn't have. I mean, you didn't have streaming services. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have. I mean, it used to be that any family that had more than one car was rich. Any family that had more than one telephone that wasn't mounted to the wall was rich. You know what I mean? Anybody that had more than one television was rich. I mean, the standard of living is so much different today, and what we as consumers have. It's kind of crazy. And all that comes at a cost, every bit of it.
No, it's insane. And somebody had mentioned it earlier. Michelle, actually, $20 is like a dollar now. I remember asking my parents for the going to White Hen. If those of you are from Chicagoland area, you'll know White Hen. It's a little pantry convenience store, and asking for like $5 and walking out with copious amounts. There used to be penny candy stores when I was a kid,
Yeah,
and again, like I'm 40 years old, so it's not like it was 100 years ago, right? But it's just crazy how
I
little
look.
the dollar values itself today. I mean, okay, respectively, if you were to take a $15 cigar, what do you think a $15 cigar would be in the
I can tell you
90s?
exactly what it is. I run the math all the time. The cigar that you're paying $15 for today is the exact same cigar that would have been $7 in 1997.
And that was
So cigar
expensive in 97,
And that
right?
was no, that was no, it was like on the it was for but look, a $15 cigar isn't expensive. It's a top tier cigar. A top tier cigar in 1997 ran somewhere around 7, $8, right? For a Dunhill or for a top of the line, whatever. So really, cigar prices actually separate of the crazy unicorn and the Placencia, whatever, and those kind of, the Cohiba. There was always been those outlier
Sure,
products,
sure, sure.
right, that are more a branding exercise than actually smoking. But actually, the reality is cigars to today's dollars don't cost more than what they cost in 1997. They actually don't. They
It's
really
just the
don't.
dollar costs
Just
less.
run. It's just the dollar's worth less. Just run the inflation numbers. If you put in, what is $15 in today's dollars? How many dollars was that? Back whenever, you'll see. Or do it the other way. You got to do it the other way in the calculator. But so actually, look, the thing about cigar prices is, in the end, I know we treat it as a luxury item, but it's a commodity. It's a consumable good.
Hmm.
I mean, that's what it is. So I mean, it needs to be priced in a consumable fashion. You're not buying. It's not like you're buying a piece of jewelry. It's not like you're buying a sofa. It's not like you're buying a television. You're
Yeah.
buying something with the intention of consuming it,
Hmm.
destroying it, smoking it, drinking it, eating it, whatever. So I mean, the idea is that it needs to be replenished. So it's one of the things that old guys like me really struggle with, because we remember what the dollar price used to be. Whereas I think that if you talk to these new cigar smokers, they don't feel like a 15, $17 cigar is all that expensive. They feel like it's the norm because that's all they've ever seen. They've never seen top tier cigars that cost 7, $8. You know what I mean? They never saw. Look, you used to be able to buy a good smokable cigar $4 or $5 all the time, any day of the week, right? And now you're pretty much buying shit at that price, or you're buying a closeout, or you're getting some sort of whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you're making something out of all grade A materials with top tier quality control, we are sadly in the $14 to $20 price point. That is where we are at now. That's where it is.
But I also think for you, like we literally have a club here in Colorado. I'm sure there's more clubs around the country the Saka Squatch Club.
And
That
Colorado doesn't help because you guys got a crazy ass tax.
we certainly fucking do, man. But like that
dude,
group only
I
smokes
bought
your
a I bought a, I
cigars.
bought a I bought a Sin Compromiso in Colorado. I think I paid
Oh
$42
yeah,
for it.
you made a mistake. You should have brought one from home.
Well, I did, but you know, you go into a store and you want to buy a cigar to support, right? So if I walk into a cigar store, I'm going to buy a cigar. But yeah, it's painful when you look at something that, you know, is already an expensive cigar. It's already a $19 cigar, and now it's a $40 cigar. It's insanity.
Honestly, okay, so I have a rule. I don't frequent a lot of cigar lounges often. For one, I'm busy. I have a kid. It's hard for me to get out. The show keeps me busy too, and I love it. But when I do go, I typically buy, you know, usually rule of three, right? Two to three, two minimum, three, maybe five tops cigars wherever I
Right.
go. I primarily buy from Abe over at Smokin'. Like the 67 or
Right.
62% sales tax here, or at least that's what it's going to be. You would know exactly what it is. I think it's in the 50s
Yeah.
still, but it's high 50s.
Yeah.
It's
And
ridiculous.
then you have the sales tax on top of it.
Correct. It's ridiculous.
Right. No,
You know,
that's how you take a $19 non-tax cigar and you make it into a $40 cigar. And the other thing too, it's not just your state's tobacco tax and your sales tax. Some places have local county taxes too that get padded into the number also. Like, in the end, the government's making out, man. The government
always.
the government is the only one that's got the best system. They're on top of everything.
Oh yeah, it's legal gangsters. You know who's second in
Yeah.
that run are lawyers. Lawyers are typically the only ones that win out. Even if you lose a case, they still win.
Yeah.
So that's coming from friends and relatives that are attorneys as well. So let's get into the first giveaway here. For everyone watching the show, really, really simple on this first one. Not going to make you work too hard, but you're probably going to have to use two thumbs to do it, or at least two hands. SakaClaus. One word, together, no space. SakaClaus. CLAUS, by the way. So nobody types in like the Santa Claus, CULAUSE. I always think the mistake for the movie is going to be made. So type in SakaClaus, and we'll do the first drawing here once we get enough people typing in. Just comment SakaClaus. No, Spaz, you did it. CLOUS. No E. It's not the end of a document. It's not the end of a negotiation. CLAU. Ugh. Now you got me.
Hey Ryan,
messing up.
I have an idiot question. Is there a way I could see the chat when we're in StreamYard or no?
You should be able to scroll down on your screen and see my whole. It's right up here in the top corner of the screen.
Oh, dude, that text is so fucking tiny.
Well,
There's
yeah,
no way I can read that shit.
yeah. You're gonna have to, because I'm pulling in chat from 3 different locations:
Yeah.
Rumble,
All right.
YouTube, and Facebook. So even
Just
if you
so
looked at
everybody knows,
Facebook-
I can't see any questions that anybody's writing. So if you want to tell me I'm a dick, you can just put it in there and I won't even see it.
Don't worry. Tom, you spelled clause wrong. Gosh, people, this was a tough one. I guess the first one of the night is the toughest one. Spell SakaClaus. There's no E at the end. I just want everybody to be able to make sure they do it. So
What do you care? Like, just dude, it's Darwin, man. Survival of the fittest. If they can't spell it, they lose. They don't have a chance.
So hold on. Why is this? All right. Let's see. Did this not enable itself? What the heck? Stop. All right. Let's see.
We got some technical shit going on here.
Yeah, it's not. If for some reason my grabber is not showing everything that's typing in. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, everybody. Let's go ahead and redo that. I spelled it wrong too. Type in SakaClaus. I put a comma at the front. My fat fingered my keyboard.
No, that's why you weren't getting anything.
I was wondering why it wasn't getting any entries. SakaClaus written in there. So type them all in again. Let's do the exercise one more. It's this Dunbarton stuff. We're making you work for it, everybody. We've got ashtrays and mugs and signs and crystal. So let's see here if we can make this work.
I obviously gave him too much shit this year. He didn't use it all, so next year
No,
I'm gonna
I
give him
do.
less.
This is what I do. I save it for the SakaClaus episode. All right. Let's see here. So, okay, so we got 2 entries in already, everybody. There we go. Now they're flooding in. Go ahead and type it in. Type it in case you thought you typed it in. Type it in again. We've got a lot of people watching the show tonight. Just keep typing it in until I say stop. But anyways, so while they're doing that, Steve, see, I'm making them make work, so they can get it. So we're gonna do a leaf ashtray now. We'll do 2 mugs, and then we'll do a couple more throughout the night. Somebody had mentioned as a question.
Just for the record, your camera's off now.
Oh, how's that?
There you go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
Glad I'm here, man.
So somebody had asked earlier here, but it was way too far up there. Are we gonna get any hint, or do you want to do a word of a year of announcement on the show tonight?
No.
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm gonna do. Look, here's the thing. I want to do it right, and things have just been so crazy with all the travel, and then I needed some pictures, and the pictures they took from the factory sucked. So I didn't like any of the photos. Actually, I have the very first box of the year of actually in the room over there. So I'm gonna, assuming customs doesn't shake me down, I'm gonna bring it back with me, and then I don't want to say Monday because I'm not sure when I'm gonna get in on Sunday, but definitely next week. I will write a description of the word of Saka, and I will announce the year of. So
Everybody.
the funny part is
next week.
Yeah, I mean it should have been last week. It was supposed to be what?
All right,
Monday.
guys, you can stop typing it in.
Yeah, I mean, so but here's the funny part. I think the person that's dying to know the wants me to announce it is the person who it honors because they've been holding on to the secret now for the vast majority of the year. So I think it's actually more. I think they're the one person it actually pains the most. The fact that the announcement hasn't happened. Me, it doesn't matter because the cigars are made. I already have I don't think I'm going to have any more to sell. So they're already pre-committed out for the most part. So me announcing it really isn't going to change anything. It's kind of like the cigars are the cigars. The brand is done. The commitments are already made by the retailers. So it's one of those things. Yeah, so I actually feel for the person that it honors because they've been sitting on the secret now since, gosh, March.
Can you tell us male or female?
Yes.
Yeah. Steve, you're a vault. So let me ask you then about the year of when you go through the planning for it. Do you build a cigar around the person that you're honoring for that, or do you have a blend in mind that you just?
So what I do is I pick out the person, and then I kind of ask them, out of the stuff that we make at Dunbarton, what are some of your favorite brands? What do you like? What do you tend to prefer?
Okay.
And then what I end up doing is I then end up making a blend based around that. So like in Chris's case, Chris really likes Sober Mesa Short Churchills, and he really likes Todos Los Dias. So the Year of the Duque was kind of a hybridized blend between the Sober Mesa Short Churchill and the Todos Los Dias. And that's what ended up being the Year of the Duque. It was a blend that's kind of, crafted with them in mind. So they serve as the inspiration, and that's why the person has to know in advance in order for me to be able to ask the question, what do you like? So if it turns out that the person is that this year's favorite brand of mine was Stillwell, then guess what? You're getting the Stillwell, kind of cigar. If it turns out their favorite is Papa Saka, then you're going to get something that's probably on the heavier, darker side. So that's kind of where that's why it's important to identify the person in advance. So I'm already trying to figure out who's going to be the 2027 person already, because pretty much by the time I get to March or so, I need to a tell them that I'd like to make them the year of, and obviously get their permission. Right? I'm not going to make somebody the year of if they don't want to be, and also kind of inquire what sizes do you. So that was the other question. What size Vitolas are some of your favorite sizes? So I try to make it something that's based on what
Tailored.
their preferences are, but it's
Yeah.
not directly tailored. It's not like they get to taste the blend.
Correct.
When they smoke it. Chris got to smoke Year of the Duque maybe a week before everybody else got to smoke Year of the Duque, because as soon as the boxes landed, we FedExed them some boxes.
I don't think it's going to be Year of the Cybertruck. Something tells me Steve's not a Cybertruck guy.
Why is that vehicle so fucking ugly?
I don't know.
Does that like literally that looks like the car that I used to draw when I was 5 years old. Every single car that I drew with my Crayolas looked like a Cybertruck. Who knew I was Elon Musk at the age of 5, right? But seriously, every time I see one of those, I just go, why is this so god awful ugly? Because look, Teslas aren't ugly vehicles, right? You can like a Tesla, not like a Tesla, but it's got some shape, it's got some
No, it
body,
does.
it's got
It
some
does.
curve. I
Yeah.
mean, but that, like, one of the electric vehicles that I like those Rivians. Have you seen the Rivian,
Oh, yeah.
the Rivian SUV?
They make them in Illinois.
All right, that's a sharp looking vehicle.
It is. It
I
is.
probably won't buy one because they don't make any sense to me to have an electric vehicle where I live. It just isn't practical. But I mean,
It's also
the
6
Cybertruck
figures.
it's just so, yeah, but all those big SUVs are 6 figures now.
That's
You
true.
buy a fully loaded Suburban or a Lincoln Navigator or an Escalade or any of that. All that crap is 6 figures. I mean, the base models are like 82K, and you're gonna spend 82K, or you're not gonna want all the bells and whistles at that point. No. So
What's
I
a
don't
few
know.
more?
I think the only people that buy the base model of those big SUVs are the rental car companies, right? I don't I, I don't think there's a lot of consumers out there buying the base model of a Suburban or a Lincoln Navigator or a
Not when
Cadillac.
you're in that level. No,
Yeah,
I
if you're
agree.
already spending that much money,
Yeah.
and you already know, and obviously you're already not price sensitive because the thing's going to drink gas like crazy. And it's so funny. I saw a Cybertruck where I saw one the other day,
They're all
and it
over
was
here in
towing
Colorado.
it was in Tampa, and it was towing this like real piece of shit beat up boat, and it just was so hilarious to see this crazy Cybertruck towing this like beat up 1950s outboard gift.
Okay,
Excuse me.
okay. Jeep Wagoneer
Who's-
or
who, won- who
Cybertruck?
won the? Oh God!
So before you answer, let's go ahead.
So,
So let's go ahead and do the giveaway here, everyone. Let's select the first winner. We've got Evan Gramley. Evan Gramley, let me write you down. You won a leaf ashtray and a trucker hat.
congratulations.
Evan, all you got to do is reach out to me. Oh, and Wesley Powell won the second one. Gramley.
Awesome.
Please reach out to me either through my show page, through Facebook, DM, it doesn't matter. Reach out to me and give me your name, address, and shirt size. Everybody's winning a Rocky Mountain Cigar shirt, a Rocky Mountain Cigar Show shirt as well. So give me your shirt size, email, address, and I'll get that out to you here really quickly. So Wesley, you won the mug and beanie, and then we'll do one more, and then hold off.
An
All
old
right.
generation beanie or a new generation beanie?
The ones you sent me last year. The gray
That
ones.
has to be the old generation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the I love as a bald man. Woo, I thank you so much for that. That is
It's a
the
very warm
most
beanie.
comfortable because the fleece
Yeah.
lining, there's no itchiness. It's the most comfortable beanie. I wear it over everything. It's fantastic. And it
Yeah.
looks
I use
nice.
them. I use them to towel off my balls. They're so feathery soft.
One per side, one full beanie per side.
Yeah. No. I
Next,
only need
we've got
one.
Adam Hillard. 3877. So let me write that down. Adam, you've got the other mug so far for the night. So ADM and then HILLIARD 3877. Awesome. Everybody, please just reach out to me. You win tonight. Doesn't matter how you do it. Even if you have to reach out to Steve to give me it because you can't find me for some reason, even though you're watching the show. We'll get you out the stuff. All right. So, Steve, Cybertruck or Jeep Wagoneer?
Well, I own Tesla stock, so I'm buying a Cybertruck. My experience with the Grand Wagoneer was so bad that I will never buy another Jeep product as long as I live. In fact, my experience with the Grand Wagoneer was so bad that I forced my wife to sell her Grand
Abe
Cherokee because
hated hers too, or his
I
too.
just the Grand Cherokee was great, but I just couldn't stand to go out in the driveway and see the damn thing. It just pissed me off that I actually had it in my driveway. I was so irritated. So I will never buy another Jeep product ever again. Problem with Cybertruck is I don't know, man. I don't know. Like you'd like to not. I'd like to think I'm pretty shame free, but I don't know that I don't know that my fragile ego could take getting out of a Cybertruck. I just being seen getting out of one of those things. I don't know. It's
I
just
will
like
say though, I sat in one. They are very roomy. But I will preface my answer because I'm not a Jeep guy myself anymore.
eh,
If it came to the early 90s, 80s, 70s Wagoneer,
oh
100% would
God, yeah,
actually take. I spent a lot of time hunting in one of those, taking it out
yeah.
in the woods.
One of those old wood
The
paneled
Woodies,
ones. I would love. Oh,
that
that'd
I
be
would buy.
fantastic.
That I
Oh
would
yeah, me too.
100% buy. 100%.
Yeah, but
But the
you could
new
say that
one's not
about
even a
I
wagon.
could say that about an old Scout. I could say that about an old Bronco.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
the
way
new Wagoneers.
I'm not buying a new Bronco, but I would buy one of those old Broncos.
Oh,
I would take one of
100%.
those in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Well, the new Wagoneer's not even a wagon. Like it's an SUV. It's not. There's nothing
No,
wagon about
it's
it.
not that. It's literally a piece of shit. It is literally the worst vehicle ever made. I have never owned a bigger turd than that Grand Wagoneer. Yeah.
Good sound system though.
The only grand thing about it was the depreciation. That was pretty fucking amazing how much they depreciate. I lost literally $68,000 on a vehicle that I had for less than 32,000 miles.
You're welcome, Adam. No, Abe
Uh,
hated his too. Abe
they're just
absolutely hated his.
they were dogs. They were just terrible. I think it's I mean, yeah. And what's really sad is we as a family, we have owned a Jeep vehicle, one if not two, for probably a good 3 decades straight. So the fact that they lost me as a customer is pretty stunning. The number of, CJ5,
Oh
CJ7,
yeah.
TJ, LJ. My wife even had a JK. She's been through 3 Grand Cherokees over the years. Probably between us, we have probably had probably upwards of 9 or 10 different Jeeps over the last 40 years. And yeah, I will never give a dime to that company for as long as I live. I'm just done. Oh, you know what? Let me stop. I wish I hadn't sold my LJ. I wish I had kept it. I wish, I wish I kept that vehicle. So maybe some point in the future when I retire, I'll buy one and do a frame up restoration and kit that vehicle out because that was a great vehicle. I loved that vehicle.
My brother had a project. He had I think it was an 88 CJ7, 89, somewhere in there. It was still the 5 point, was it the 5.0 or the 5.6 V8? I think it was the
It was
5.6.
5.6.
Was it the
Yeah.
5? Yeah. So he had that one. He took the entire body off, went down to a frame restoration, and then he put 1/8 inch steel around all the stress points and then stopped there. It just
Yeah,
he just
that's the
lost time.
that's a problem with project cars.
Yeah.
Okay, you have big dreams, but then you get into the work, and
It was going to be a rock
yeah,
crawler, Steve. Let me tell you, it was going to be the best.
yeah. Yeah, look, my LJ was, I mean, it was not a rock crawler, but it was a serious overland vehicle. It was kitted out really nice. I mean, it was bulletproof.
What was
And
your first car?
I remember first car ever was a Mazda. Well, it was a Mazda Cosmos. The
Wow.
Mazda Cosmos was a rotary engine. It was the precursor to the RX-7. It
Okay,
was a
so before the
hatchback. It
did
was
it
a
have the
hatchback.
rotary?
It had the rotary. It
Wow.
was the first car. It was the first car to have a rotary engine in it. Yeah, yeah,
Wow. And what
yeah.
year
And
was
I did
that?
it. Fuck, 1981 maybe. And when I got it, it was probably already 7, 8 years old, I think.
Navy time for you?
No, that was when I was in high school.
High school. Okay. What was the first car you bought that you loved?
First car I bought that I loved. It was probably a Honda Accord LXI 4-door black sedan with a tan interior. It had power everything, power steering, power windows, power locks. And I remember how it was so expensive. It was like $14,800, right?
90s, right? That
Yeah,
would
it
have
would
been
have
mid
been
90s.
no, it would have been like right around
Was that the 80s? Okay.
1988, 89, somewhere in that frame. Yeah, that was the
14
first car. I
grand was a
mean,
lot of money back then.
yeah, yeah. I it was so comfortable. And I felt so rich. I mean, look, power windows, are you kidding me? That was so pimping in the 80s. Come on.
Did you run it to the ground?
I ran into that's the thing. I like to buy vehicles and run them to the ground.
Okay, so you're the
I,
10,
I'm
15-year owner.
Yeah, I'm the guy that likes to I don't like to buy used, even though I know it makes sense. But I'm the opposite end of the coin. I like to buy brand new and then fuck it up myself and just be responsible for everything. So I'm the guy that likes to get 300,000 plus miles out of every vehicle I own.
Yeah, I have my first car was the Ford Focus. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and now I was 16.
Oh,
Listen to this deal. Listen to this deal. It was a demo car, Steve. $100 down, $100 a month for a brand new car. I think I bought it. It had like 4,000, 4,500 miles on it when I drove,
right.
when my parents brought it home. Could you imagine today getting a car for $100 down and $100 a month?
I
I mean,
know.
that's 24 years ago, but still, like it's crazy. The first car I loved was my Kia Optima. I had a 2020 or 2011 Kia Optima EX Turbo. It was a sleeper. My car did not have the turbo badging on it. And I was the only year that they made the EX with a turbo without having to go to the higher end model. And it was a complete sleeper off the line. People are like, oh, I just blow right past them. Normal
Uh,
Mustangs just blow because it was, I mean, it was 274 horse, I
I can
think.
tell you that's the way a little Mazda Cosmos was. They had a lot of pick up and go.
Oh, yeah. I got a
It was
Mazda
a
3.
pretty
I love it. They
it was
don't
a pretty
break.
it was a pretty good car. And then probably after that, it was Jeeps that I loved. It was a CJ7. It was probably it, and then a TJ. But I always liked those vehicles because I could wrench on them. There was nothing on those inline six Jeeps that if you had just basic mechanical aptitude that you couldn't do yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there was enough room for fat hands to get in there and
You could
to
sleep
do
in the engine.
everything. So I love that. And And then probably the next vehicle I really loved was when I got my Ford Raptor in 2012. I really loved that V8 Raptor. It was a great vehicle. And I put almost 375,000 miles on it
On
until
the
I finally gave
Raptor,
it up.
the Ford
Yeah.
Raptor.
Yeah, on the V8.
I think you probably surprised. I guarantee you nobody's put $300,000
Oh, I
on a
think I, I think
Raptor.
I, I think on those early V8s they did. It was all the V6s with the twin turbos that
But
they
I
made
just
for
didn't
that
think
8 year.
people kept those that long.
Well, I think again because they're so expensive. I think a lot of the people that bought those trucks, look, it's a show truck. It's not a work truck,
Oh, of
right?
course.
So I think the type of people that bought that truck didn't really use that truck as a truck. I think they bought it on a lease and then they traded it in 3 years later and traded it in and traded. You know what I mean? So I think it's one of those things where no, mine I beat the living shit out of. That thing was dented and scratched and it was starting to rust out around the edges and yeah, it was just yeah. I used the hell out of that vehicle and I'm hoping I bought a new GMC 2500 uh, the HD, not the Denali, but I bought the AT4X or ATX4. I can't keep the acronym straight. And I'm hoping I'm gonna get 300 plus thousand miles out of it. That's what I hope. I I'm not a car guy. I like a nice vehicle. I like to be comfortable. I like it to be good, but I've never been into cars. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know enough to
So
break a car.
yeah, so for me, cars are a matter of, and I'm definitely a truck guy. I'm not. I owned one German sedan, and I don't know, it was kind of
Mercedes,
nice. I didn't.
BMW.
No, it was an Audi.
Oh, okay.
It was an Audi A6 twin turbo,
Very nice
and
car.
once it got out of warranty, after the 3 years, it didn't matter what was wrong with it. Everything started at $700. It's just like, you know what I mean? Oxygen sensor, $700. Windshield wipers, $700. It just didn't matter. It's like everything started at 700 and went up, and I was like, dude, I can't. This is not for me. This is not, and that's why I think that most of the people that own those vehicles, if it isn't like a classic Mercedes, I think that they flip them, they lease them, and they find themselves in a new Mercedes every 2 to 4 years, and that's what they do. But the thing is, I'm very sedentary when it comes to these things. I like if I never had to get a new computer or a new phone or any of that stuff, I would be happy. Having to just reset everything up, figure out everything, all the changes. As I get older, I'm starting to understand why I used to have to program Nana's VCR, right? Because I'm the point now that I can't find the settings on this fucking iPhone anywhere. I have to go on to Google now to find where something is to change it because there's so many damn settings buried in so many weird menus with all sorts of crazy ass names that it's like, dude, it's like, yeah, I guess if I lived and died and breathed my iPhone, maybe I would know. But for me, it's a tool. It's something that I use. I just want it to do its job and let me go about my day. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not into tech because I love tech. I'm into tech because I have to use tech and I have no choice. But so for me, it's the same thing with the car. The cars are like my wife has a Lexus. I fucking hate it. I can't figure out any of the controls in that goddamn Lexus. It's so like ridiculous
I
to
like
me.
Lexus.
Yeah, I mean, she
They're
likes it.
nice.
Guess
They're
what?
nice.
It's her vehicle.
They
She
don't
paid
break
for it.
too. They don't break.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't. We haven't had one for long because, like I said, she's been in a Jeep forever. She never wanted an expensive vehicle. She was always happy with her Grand Cherokee, and she would still be in it today if I wasn't such a bitch about it and say, "You got to get that out of the driveway." You know. But I mean, I can't. There's just too many features, too many controls, too many buttons, too many settings, too many everything. And I don't need all that stuff. I just need it to do its job and let me go about my day.
Well, Steve, we have a question here, and looks
Maybe
like
that's why I like cigars. You cut it, you light it, you draw on it. It's simple, right? It's simple.
It's if you screw it
Yeah.
up, 99% of the time it's user error.
Yeah, or it was just a badly made cigar.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry. I can't hear you. I'm on a podcast.
So
Hey, Trey Oliva's there interrupting the podcast. Yeah. You guys know who Trey Oliva is?
I do not.
Yeah, Trey Oliva is the he's from Oliva Tobacco Company. He's one of the owners. I don't think son's a fair statement anymore because
now which
I mean,
Oliva Tobacco Company? Is it Oliva the
the
cigars or Oliva
no
the tobacco?
Oliva the tobacco
Okay.
Tobacco.
For those of you that don't know, there's two Olivas. There's strictly Oliva Tobacco, which actually made a cigar called the Latitude, and then there's Oliva, as in the Milano.
Right. There's Oliva Cigar Company and Oliva Tobacco Company.
Yeah.
Oliva Tobacco Company is one of the biggest. They supply wrappers and fillers to
huge,
pretty much everybody. Yeah.
Huge. So Steve, Michelle's been very patient here. She's asked the question a few times. I want to get to it. Now that you are been very much world traveled. Your cigars are now held overseas in various different countries. In fact, the overseas that Abe decided to buy all of them and bring them back here.
He didn't buy them all because
as much as he could.
He bought as much as he could. We didn't sell a lot. We sold about 5,000 boxes, but I think Abe brought like 1,000 of the boxes back to the United States.
That's a good chunk of change. That's a good chunk of boxes. So where is your favorite place that you've ever traveled to?
Wow. I don't know. They all suck.
Home's where the heart is, huh?
Yeah, it's just like I travel so much. Look, are there some amazing places on the planet? Yeah, I mean there are. I mean, I love the Netherlands. I love Amsterdam. I think it's a great city. I really, I love Italy. The food is amazing. The wine is amazing. I mean, there's places in the Caribbean that are gorgeous. I mean, there's nice places. Like the only places that I've never been is I've never been anywhere in Asia. So everything from Eastern Europe to Hawaii is blank for me. That's a whole section of the world that I have never ever traveled to. So, but I've been to many South American. I haven't been to a lot of places in Africa, but I've probably been to 7 or 8 countries in Africa, which is probably a lot more than most people. But yeah, I mean, yeah, when you travel a lot, really, you just want to be home. That's where you want to be. I mean,
100%.
Look, there's some places that are on my bucket list. I've never been to the Greek Isles. I'd like to go to like Santorini. So, I mean, eventually I'd like to do that. But I mean, every place has its pluses and minuses. I mean, Switzerland is gorgeous. Italy is gorgeous. There's parts of Germany that are nice, not the part that I typically get to go to for the trade show. I mean, there's parts of France. I mean, I love Scotland. Scotland is fantastic. I mean, so yeah, but
I would love to go to Scotland or Ireland. I would love to go to Scotland and just tour the distilleries. That's
well, yeah, there's enough of them to go to. That's for damn sure.
There's very much. So speaking of distilleries, what's your favorite whiskey?
Yeah, that's easy. I'm very boring. It's Lagavulin.
Hey, I actually have a 8-year right here, and I also have the Offerman edition.
Yeah, I like the Offerman. My favorite is their Distillers edition. It's the one they finish off in Pedro Jimenez casks. It kind of softens the peat a little bit, makes it a little bit sweeter. That's probably short of like some of the crazy things I've had the luxury of tasting courtesy of friends. But I mean stuff that I would actually pay for. For me, the Lagavulin Distillers edition is probably my all-time favorite.
And that's not a very expensive bottle. That's a sub-$100 bottle.
Yeah, I typically get it for, in my state, typically right around 85 to 90.
Yeah.
In a high tax state like Jersey, you might see it hit 140. you know.
Yeah.
So
But I mean that's a good bottle that doesn't break the bank. We have another question here. So she said, "Are you worried about Nicaragua?" We've already talked about that at the beginning of the show, so I'm not going to ask Steve to repeat himself. I don't think Steve's going to say that there's going to be another Cuba because there's no embargo being even talked about for Nicaragua. But
not currently.
the question I will ask Steve that you asked is, what's the most important country in your opinion for tobacco production?
Oh, it's definitely Nicaragua. It's not even a question.
Okay.
I mean, the only country that's equally important is obviously if it's Habanos, it's Cuba, right? But Cuba is only important to Habanos. It's not important to anybody else. But yeah, Nicaragua, like the entire industry, whether it's a Nicaraguan made cigar, in fact, I don't know if there's really any company at this point that isn't using some sort of Nicaraguan material somewhere within their portfolio, if not in many of the products that they make. So even the large Dominican manufacturers and Honduran manufacturers, they're all using a pretty healthy dose of Nicaraguan materials. So yeah,
So it,
Nicaragua is today the epicenter of premium black tobacco and is the epicenter of handmade cigars. It just simply is.
what about what would you say if I was adamant that the DR is? How would you make that case?
No, well, where I would argue is first off, what do they make in the Dominican that's a Dominican Puro? There's very little that's actually all Dominican cigars, number one. Number two, the Dominican manufacturers, if they come and buy their materials from Nicaragua all the time, so they obviously feel a necessity where there's not a lot of manufacturers here in Nicaragua that use Dominican materials. I'm one of the few that, and I only use one Dominican ingredient with some regularity. So I think that, and I just think all the energy is in the Nicaraguan brands. Not that there aren't some great. Let me say this: you got Carlito Fuente building a factory in Esteli, right? You don't have the Padrones building a factory in the Dominican Republic. Of course, now that I said it out loud, tomorrow they'll announce they're building a factory in the Dominican Republic. But no, I think that really, and I think had it not been for the Civil War, the situation that happened in the '80s, I think that I think this country would have been even further ahead. It really set the country back a good 20 years. The comment in 2015, no, 20 legitimately. I mean, we were back in the country by 93, but things weren't really good in 93, 94. It was really right around the year 2000 where you started to see the dominance of Nicaraguan materials and Nicaraguan manufacturing and all of that. I mean, that's why the 100% tariff possibility with the USTR was so crazy
Detrimental.
scary. It would just so it would so change the landscape of the industry that it would have really been very hard to comprehend. And then on top of that, I don't even we don't have to talk about it because it didn't happen. But had they done the tariff, would that have been like, I mean, you have an embargo against Cuba. You can't use materials from Cuba, even though you're manufacturing in the Dominican or you're manufacturing here in Nicaragua. Would we've had the same exclusion there too? So it would have been an earth shattering change. If there was an embargo against Nika, it would be an entire industry upset just the same way as the Cuban embargo was at the end of the '60s. It would be a pretty catastrophic blow for almost everybody.
So this may be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Is there any way, and I'm not saying to do it, I'm not saying it would be worthwhile, I'm just asking if it's potentially possible. Could you actually hide Cuban tobacco in your cigar
Oh,
and just
sure,
not claim it? Like, is that
of
possible?
course.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So there's not strict regulations between necessarily the tobacco going into the country as it would be
No, you
as if it came
could.
here.
The issue that you have is, look, Cuban materials they're very scarce because they don't have enough to make their own cigars, right? I mean, they've reduced their production. I mean, they were
quite a
running at an
bit.
annual production of 75 to 78 million units a year, and now they're lucky if they can make 35 million units a year. So they don't have enough to manufacture their own products, much less sell it into the open market. And then the other problem that you have is, look, Cuban materials, they're very mild materials. So they're just really, if you take Cuban tobaccos and you mix them with Nicaraguan, they're just going to get lost in the blend. You're not going to be able to even tell they exist. There's like they're not bold enough to stand up to the body. So there's really, from a practical standpoint, other than you saying for the band smokers, the name smokers, this has Cuban tobacco. Look, I mean, there's one brand that's rumored to potentially carry Cuban tobacco, right? You hear that about Atabey and Byron all the time, right? The company doesn't say it. I don't know if it's true or false. I don't actually care. You know what I mean? But I mean, I don't taste it, but hey, who am I? But there are people that smoke the cigar because they think it does have it. And the thought of it having it makes them influence what they like, you know. So
No,
but I don't think that's I don't
tell you everybody, we're gonna
I
get
don't think a
ready to.
Dunbar. I don't think a Dunbar customer would be swayed by that. At least
No.
I'd hope to think they wouldn't be. But there are customers that are. Like I run into them all the time. Look, there are people that smoke Opus X because they really like Opus X and like the flavor of Opus X. There's a lot of people that smoke Opus X because it's Opus X,
Yes, totally. I absolutely agree with you.
right? And if you put that band on a Placencia, or you put that band on a Dunbarton, or you put that band on a whatever, they would love it just as much as the cigar that currently has the band. And look, and I don't say that in an ill way towards
Mm.
my friends of Fuentes. It's good that they've built a brand that holds that level of prestige, but there are customers that just smoke certain products because of the name on the brand, because of the band, and really they don't actually have any clue what they're smoking. They're just smoking because they've been told that this is really, really good and it's priced this way and it's received so many top whatevers and blah blah blah. And yeah, but
I think
again,
I
those
think the vast
typically.
I think the vast majority of cigar smokers. When I say cigar smokers, let me preface: the average cigar smoker is about a cigar a month, is what I was told. Is
Yeah,
is is average. Now the heavy cigar smokers are obviously weekly or daily. I'm weekly, or
right.
I'm daily. You're several
Yeah,
daily. Um,
yeah.
I don't think you could Pepsi challenge the average cigar smoker into understanding their own blend that they smoke all the time.
Well, think about it. If you smoke 2 cigars a week, that's only 700 cigars a year. Not that many cigars.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it really isn't. I mean, I smoke 700 cigars
A month.
in, good God, no, not a month. I smoke about 700 cigars in a little over 2 months.
Yeah, let's say about
You
a
know,
quarter because last I asked you that question, you said about 10 a day from
and I'm
trying and
still right.
sampling.
I've actually kind of noticed I'm cutting back. I think I'm trailing down to like 8 a day. Yeah, I'm starting to be a little bit more judicious lately. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old and I'm smoking slower. Maybe I'm doing too many podcasts. It cuts into my puff time. I don't know.
I doubt
Um,
I doubt that,
but
Steve. Everyone loves your podcasts.
but but I mean, but yeah. Look, first off, the average cigar consumer is not watching a podcast. They're just not.
No,
They're
no,
not
no.
watching a
Anybody watching this
podcast.
is a heavy smoker.
Yeah, you have to be a junkie to dedicate the time to listen to two old bald guys babble back and forth about whatever. So I mean, yeah. So it's you're not typical cigar consumer. And look, and I get it. For them, I've always said to people, if you can't differentiate the difference, then there's no reason for you to spend the money. I mean, if you find something and you're very satisfied with it, and it's at this price point, and it meets all your needs, it relaxes you, you enjoy the flavor, you think it burns well, you think it's a good value, then be content with that. And that's what most cigar smokers are. Most cigar smokers are not. They're not into everything. They're not comparing. They don't even have a big enough lexicon to fairly compare and contrast. Because I mean, I always find it weird when I see like one of the things like when I go through like social media groups and whatnot, I'll see some of these cigars that some people think are great cigars and they rave about them, and I just feel bad for them. And I just would like to be able to post, dude, stop smoking that shit. For the same amount of money, here's something that's made with similar materials that's actually a much, much better cigar. Now, I can't do that as someone in the industry because it's just too big of a dick move. But there's a lot of things that a lot of people think are really good cigars that really just aren't. They're just typical, average, mediocre cigars. They just are,
No,
you know?
I don't disagree.
Uh,
I think so much of it though is just what your pal like in the beginning. I enjoyed the lesser expensive cigars a lot more, probably because I had to, right, as all I could afford.
yeah.
And
That's all I could afford too. I started on the cheap end of the spectrum. I had no choice.
just like right here, I want you to kind of. We have a new smoker watching the show tonight, and they're a little nervous, Steve. They say just getting into cigars, about 20 cigars under my belt, so super new. Worried the
Yeah.
whole industry is going to collapse before I even have a chance.
Nah, I don't think the whole industry is going to collapse. I mean, look, there's enough product in the pipeline that even if like they totally like turned off the spigot, there's probably gonna be cigars for 2 or 3 years still trickling out. I mean, there's a lot of product in the pipeline, so I don't think that's the case. I mean, the one thing I think is a new cigar smoker. One of the problems that you have is you jump around so much that you never get a sense of. You're gonna fall in love with something all the time, and it's gonna be the greatest thing ever. To only find something else that's the greatest thing ever. And I think the biggest thing that I have to encourage young consumers, when I say young, I don't mean age wise, I mean experience wise, is don't overspend. Don't dive in and just buy boxes and boxes and boxes because whatever you think you love now, you're gonna find yourself 2, 3 years from now going, it's still good, but I don't really know why I have it. So, and I know it's hard because we're consumers and look, and when I give this advice, I'm asshole number one because in 1996 I had 27,000 cigars in my own personal collection, my own walk-in humidor. So however guilty anybody is when I see the photos of people posting all these multiple box purchases, I was there with you, man.
Yeah,
I
you would.
I I completely get it. I have solidarity with you, but I think it's really necessary to. It's hard, but you just got to try to control your role. And then the other thing too is it takes. I know it took me a good 10 years, 11 years, 12 years before I even started to dial in on what I actually liked and didn't like. I was affected by the opinions of others, just like everybody else. I mean, I used to. I mean, 1993. I'm looking at that cigar aficionado. I'm looking at those ratings. Like, oh man, I gotta get that. That was a 92. That was a 93. Let me go and get that. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, so we all go through it, but I think there's a tendency to buy way more than we can consume. And when you're in the beginning of your journey, you're going to buy a lot of things that you're going to ultimately just end up giving away, or you're just going to end up having aged for a decade or longer, and you never really get around to it. So, the one thing I would say to a younger, again, I use the word younger, a less experienced cigar smoker is it's okay, man, just chill. And the other thing too is you will never find the greatest cigar. It doesn't exist. It's this
It's always the one you're
this
smoking
search for the
now.
grail, right? The search for the grail will become impossible. You will eventually get to be old like myself. And what will end up happening is you will settle into a pattern of this is what I like, and your world will shrink significantly. and you'll probably find yourself smoking cigars from maybe 2 or 3 makers. And even of those 2 or 3 makers, not everything they make, just certain things they make. And you will find that 90+% of your consumption will be with a much more limited portfolio, just the same way as craft beer. If I never have another craft beer in my life, I'm happy. I'm I'm tired of trying all the new I'm tired of trying every new Tom, Dick, and Harry bourbon. I'm always like, is it better than Blanton's? Is it better than Willett's? Is it better than the Jefferson's Ocean? And 99 out of 100 times it isn't. So, but look, it's that chase, that's discovery. And then, once you start to figure out what you like, you also, the other thing I always tell, new smokers is don't lock yourself in on a size. There's
Mhm.
the shape and the length and the girth of the cigar has such a tremendous impact on the smoking
Big time.
experience that open yourself up to smoking Coronas, smoking double Coronas. You know what? Put that donkey dick in your mouth and see what it smokes like. Take, really a good way is take a blend that you really, really like, that you like, whatever. Mike Rita. And you normally smoke a Toro. Well, try it in a Robusto, try it in the 6x48, try the Grand Buffalo in 7x64. See how the size impacts the blend. Because I have certain blends that I like in larger formats, and I have other blends that I prefer in small formats. But the only way you're ever gonna get there is doing it yourself. You're gonna get to a point where top lists and ratings and what people say on the internet are going to become points of interest, but they don't become your guiding light any longer. And you will probably end up with a small circle of friends whose palates align with your palate, whose advice will have way more merit than whatever Coop or Developing Palates or Half Wheel or Cigar Aficionado says. So, but that takes time. And, don't, but I will say if you're constantly jumping, it makes it really, really hard for you to refine your palate if you're constantly always bouncing all over the place. So
Eh,
it takes a while to kind of go through the genres and figure out which of the genres are your preferred, if even the genre is preferred. Like I'm not big on most Connecticut shade, mild to medium cigars. Most of them don't suit my fancy. Very few do. That's a very small window. Whereas in the heavier Connecticut broadleafs, that's an area that even if it isn't my favorite, I'm probably going to be okay with a good, well-made Connecticut broadleaf cigar that's of heavier materials. Now I'm going to have my favorites, but I know that that genre tends to satisfy my palate more than it doesn't. Whereas other things, there's certain tobaccos I don't like. I don't like the taste of Dominican Olor. So, but I've learned that over time. Now, does that mean I won't smoke a brand that has Allure in it? No, but I look at Allure for me, I consider it more of a condiment tobacco, not a principal tobacco. So when it's something that's a principal, like in a Davidoff white label, I don't really enjoy Davidoff white labels today because so much of the blend is primarily made out of Allure trippas. It doesn't suit my fancy. Whereas the ones they were making in the 90s, which were much more Palado Cubano heavy, I actually like those white label cigars better than today's generation of white label cigars. So, but you learn that over time, just the same way as I don't like Arapiaca very much. Arapiaca is not one of my favorite wrappers. Now, am I saying there are no Arapiaca cigars out there that aren't good? No, I'm not saying that at all. There are a few that I do like, but more times than not, I don't like it. So I know that that's something for me that, okay, I'm going to kind of avoid Arapiaca for the most part.
well, I would also, as a new smoker, I would
I think
encourage
you're on
you.
mute now.
Oh, am I? Can you not hear me? I'm coming through, right? It shows I
Maybe you're
am.
not on mute. Maybe my headphones gave up the ghost.
Hold on, let me check. Because I didn't touch anything. Hold on. Oh, yep. For some, okay, there we go. So I would actually, I would also encourage somebody if, like, for instance, if you take like Steve, that was my microphone was off. Um, if if you like a brand like Dunbarton, smoke the catalog. Smoke the catalog and learn the brand. Learn the brand inside and out. Because I could say this about Steve's. I've in the last 5 years, I probably had at least one of all of his national releases and most of his smaller releases. There is a profile to Dunbarton tobacco. And I don't think, I would say the only thing that's a little out of profile is the Stillwell. Would you agree? Would you agree? Oh, now we can't hear you, Steve. Now you took your headphones out. We can't hear you. All right. Well, everybody, while we're waiting for Steve to get his audio back on, do us a favor and type in deep space cuts, not the word space, just a space, deep cuts for the next drawing. A bunch of you have done it, and we got 36 entries in. But I see that there you go, Steve. I see that there's still more people that have not been in. So if you're watching, type in the word deep cuts and be entered into the drawing. We're doing 3 more. We've got 1 more leaf. We've got a leaf and a beanie, a mug and a beanie, and a trucker and a beanie. Um, Sets of 2. So if you haven't typed in deep cuts, but Steve, would you agree with me that outside of Stillwell, because of the pipe inclusion, your cigars do have a profile?
Oh yeah. First off, can you hear me now?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Look, I mean, one of the pluses and the minuses with Dunbarton is since I'm the only person that blends anything and I'm the only person that tastes anything before it ends up in a box, if I don't like it, then it doesn't fly. So therefore, if your palate doesn't like what I like, you probably are not going to like any of my cigars. Where if your palate likes what I like, then there's probably a chance that you will like multiples of our cigars. And that's one of the reasons why I always tell people, I mean, that's the benefit of that essential sampler. The essential sampler just gives you toros
Yeah.
from, all of our core stuff. And if you smoke those and nothing in there appeals to you in any way whatsoever, I would just stop. You know, buy that, try those. If those don't cut it, there's no point. Now with the deep cut sampler is an example of my 11 favorite cigars that we make. Separate of some of the exclusives, because I can't put exclusives in a sampler because retailers are not going to sell a cigar that their consumers can only buy from a specific store.
Sure.
But yeah, yeah, if you want to take the deep dive and do the deep cuts, but definitely, yeah, if your palate doesn't jive with my palate, then none of Dunbarton's going to work for you. Just that simple.
Because the one
And
thing I will say about Dunbarton is there's nothing that you have made. Like I've heard this from other manufacturers. I put it out because I needed to. The one thing I've not heard from you is there's things that you like more, but you do like everything you make and you
yeah,
smoke everything you make, which I
yeah,
think
because
kind of is rare in some instances because there are
well,
people that put cigars out to put them out.
it's a basic question I always ask myself. My question is, would I be willing to open my wallet and actually buy this and put it in my humidor? And if I can't answer that with a yes, then there's no reason for it to exist. Now, am I going to be smoking Graham Buffaloes? No. Graham Buffaloes 7x64. It's not a format that I like. The blend Mi Querida I absolutely love, but there are consumers that want that kind of size cigar. So therefore it's there. Now, would I not smoke a 7x64? No. If I were to smoke a 7x64, it would be a Graham Buffalo. But yeah, it's a very simple litmus test. I always say to myself, would I be willing to spend my hard-earned cash? And if I can't say yes, then why would I expect somebody else to buy it?
And I think that's why you like again. I know a lot of people in that soccer squatch group. I can literally name of 4 of them right off the top of my head in the group that only smoke Dunbarton. So like at that point in time, you're really they're really trusting you, but they're trusting your palate. They're what they're saying is, I like everything you put out because I like what you like. Not
And that's the benefit of the faith that we're extended every time we do a limited, they blind buy leche burra. They have no idea what leche burra tastes like. They have no clue. They're buying it based on the previous track record of all the other cigars, and they're trusting me that I'm not going to intentionally just fuck them over and just do something just solely for the cash purpose, that there'll be merit to it. Now, I can't promise them that they're going to like it. I can't promise them that it's going to be their favorite. What I can promise them is that it'll be good from a cigar point of view. The materials will be good, and it will taste the way I intend it to taste. But I mean, look, it's look, it's a, I have to, I think one of the reasons why we have managed to do so well and get the following that we've gotten is we've never taken advantage of the consumer, nor that the opposite side of the coin, we've never patronized them either. And, never made excuses for the prices, never, did something in a rush, nothing, all of these things. We try at all times to do the best we can. Are we perfect? We're not perfect. We make some fucked up cigars. It happens. But even when we do that, we always try to make the consumer whole. We do our best to do that. But in the end, if you don't like what I like, you're probably not going to like our cigars. It's just that simple.
It is, because you blend to your palate. You don't necessarily blend for the buyer. You blend for you, and that's great though, because what that allows you to do is build an audience that likes your profile. And in fact, we have a question here that I don't know if you've ever asked. I don't even know how you would actually answer it, but we're gonna ask it here in a second. It's from a good friend of the show, Bruce Stark. So we're going to go ahead and do the second to last drawing. The last drawing, the big drawing, we're going to let Steve choose the order on the last one. Is it going to be the crystal ashtray or a sign like that for your cigar lounge? We'll let Steve decide which one goes first next time. But this is going to be first drawing up. We're going to reverse it and do the mug beanie first. The two mug beanie firsts, and then the leaf and beanie as well. So we have a mug beanie and a trucker beanie up. Mug beanie first right now. We got Vinny. Vincent. I'm just gonna bring it to TGS. I'm not gonna ship it to you. I'm just gonna bring it to TGS.
You'll forget that. Are you kidding me? Plus, he needs to put that shit on eBay so he can buy more TGS stuff.
I don't even, Steve, I gotta say, I thought it was actually really funny. We were at TGS and because for anybody that is not part of Smokin' Social, they don't know Vinny. Vinny's probably one of the largest proprietors of Dunbarton stuff. I think that's a fair statement, Steve.
Yeah, he's a. I know Vincent smokes other cigars. But yeah, but Vincent has been a huge supporter, booster, patron of the brand for as long as I've known him. And I love Mr. Bonetti.
I love Bonetti too.
I'm very appreciative of his support.
He actually was kind enough. He busted my cherry and gave me my first unicorn. It was amazing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, and he just gave it to me. I didn't even ask him for one. I just told him I never smoked one. And he's like, I got you.
Yeah. People like to bust his chops, but it's truly out of love.
I love Vinny.
He's a good guy.
He buys he's the one that buys our tables for TGS, and then we pay him back and throw in. We do Airbnbs. I love Vinny. So, Vinny, you got the.
I actually have a question. Does anyone have 2 seats left at their table for TGS they haven't sold yet?
All right. If you have 2 seats at your table, reach out to Steve if you haven't sold them yet. If you have 2 seats at the table, Vinny, I don't know how many tables you bought this year, but if you have 2 seats, let Steve know. But I thought it was really funny because you walked up to Vinny's, and again, Vinny's big time buyer of Dunbarton, and you were like, I just want to make sure, because he buys a lot of Dunbarton.
That's a lot.
I don't want him to burn. I've never seen a manufacturer go, I just want to make sure you're spending your money the right way.
Look, you have to understand. Here's the thing, though. Look, I make a consumable product, so what ends up happening is when the consumers buy so much, they just get to the point where they stop buying because they have so much. And that's not really, it's not good for me, because what I'd rather them do is buy as they're consuming as they go along. You know what I mean? So for somebody to end up with a 3-year supply of Dunbarton, it's like, it doesn't, I mean, in the end, it's really it doesn't, it makes my numbers false. You know what I mean?
But
If there's
Vinny
a
is a
lot of,
constant
if there's a
buyer.
lot, if a lot of people, yeah, if there's a lot of people that have too much, and that isn't good either. And there's a lot of consumers that over the years they buy a lot of Dunbarton, and I'm thankful for it. But I don't want them to buy more than they actually need. That doesn't serve their best interest, doesn't serve my best interest, because what ends up happening that I make whatever a new blend Conalam, and Conalam turns out to be their favorite. You know what I mean? I'd rather them, have some cash reserve, some space left in their walk-in or their stand-up or their Tupper doors or cooler doors or whatever the hell they're using, so they can have space.
Well, I agree. When it comes to Vinny, though, Vinny would put a tattoo of your face on his stomach, I
No,
think.
he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
I guarantee you, if you offered him something, he totally would tattoo your face. Vinny, type it.
See,
Would you tattoo Steve's face on your body? What would it
here's the
take?
difference. Vincent is smart enough to charge me a royalty for that. So I ain't paying anybody. So
It does look like Vince does have one seat
yeah,
for TGS.
I need a pair for a couple.
He needs a pair. Anybody, if somebody will post in Smoking Social, if you can, if
I'll
anybody has
take care
two
of it.
seats.
I'll post it. I'll post it. I'll do my own. I'll do my own
He got it.
groveling.
All right. Well, we got a lot of people here willing to work. So we got another drawing here. We're gonna do the other mug trucker. What do we got? We've got Amanda Ander. Oh, I know Amanda Anderson. All right.
Yeah.
Amanda Anderson, watcher of the shows, won a few times. Actually, won the Leaf Ashtray last time, if I'm correct. So Amanda, fantastic. All right, now we've got the last Leaf Ashtray and beanie going right now. Joel Resnick,
Congratulations.
fantastic. Joel, didn't you just say you wanted one? I thought you just literally put in the comments you wanted one. So Joel Resnick. All right, everybody. Even if I have your information or you won before on the show, please reach out to me. Confirm the information that I have. Send me your address. Send me your name and your shirt size. Everybody wins tonight is also going to get a Rocky Mountain Cigar shirt, Rocky Mountain Cigar Show shirt as well. Even if you already have one, just send it to me. I've got a bunch of them, so I'd love to give them away. Next,
Wants
and then
to clear his closet out.
absolutely right. I can't wear them all. The last drawing of the night, which will take place here in about 10 minutes, will be for the crystal ashtray and the sign, and we'll let Steve decide which one goes
That's easy.
first.
Sign first. The
Sign
crystal ash.
first.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So the first drawing will be
Crystal.
for the sign, second one will be for the crystal. And that word, those words, this one you're going to have to actually work a little bit because apparently deep SakaClaus was a bit of a problem. This one's going to be, hold on, everybody. Before you type anything in, I will let you know when I reset it. But it's going to be word.
Don't tell them now. If you tell them now, they're just going to start typing it
Don't
now.
type it in yet. Don't type it in yet. Let me get it in. Hold on.
Just wait.
Reset
If
my
you tell them
drawing.
now, you're just going to cause more confusion.
All right, reset my drawing. Okay, there we go. Last drawing of the night is Word of Saka. Word of Saka. If you type in the word, type
one
in
word or 3 words?
3 words. Word space of space Saka.
And what is the word of Saka?
The word of
I had to
Saka
pick
is
one
what I
word.
smoked tonight. It was amazing.
What would be the one word?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It'd probably be fuck.
That's my favorite word too.
I think that would be the word.
So, do we have a glimpse into maybe a limited word of Saka called fuck?
I don't think I can get away with that. Yeah.
So, Steve, I know you normally take a break where you try to disconnect for the week
Not
after
this year. I
Christmas.
don't have time.
No games lined up this year?
I am so jammed up. I have no time. There is not a moment peace.
So, Cindy tried to make you take time, didn't work.
Cindy doesn't try to make me take time. She knows better. Cindy.
So, when
People
was
for 30 years, everybody's just saying you need to get him to eat better. You need to get him to exercise. And her response is, "Really, you think I can make him do something?"
dude, you
Yeah.
look great.
I
Like
don't know about
you
that.
look, oh, you look
I'm
great.
super flabby. My titties are getting floppy. I need to start exercising. I'm feeling super jelly right now.
Well, I can tell you from this year to last year, you look fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really happy for you. I'm actually going through a little bit of a slender down myself. Um, but I wanted to ask, when was the last vacation you took for you?
It was
And
last
what
year.
was it? What was it?
We went to the Amalfi Coast last May.
For everybody that
So
doesn't know where that is, where is that? Like me, I don't know where
Italy.
that is. Okay, Italy. I just didn't want to necessarily
It
admit
was
I didn't know.
May of 2024 was the last vacation. And then I'm definitely taking a vacation in 2026 because on the trip where I trailered the boat all the way to Texas, it was the first time my boat had touched the water in 3 years. And I had only done that because my dad wanted to have his ashes spread on his favorite lake, which was in Texas. So I literally took the boat out of storage, had it serviced, drove it all the way to Texas, straight through, didn't check into a hotel room. I literally slept in the truck on the way down and I slept in the truck on the way back. And I was
Wow.
like, this is just crazy. And so I booked, I've already paid to rent a house on Lake Umbagog for coming up in June of this year. So June of this year, I am actually going to take a full week and go fishing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, are you going to leave the phone behind?
No, can't do that.
Well, Steve, before we had that droid here, there was a question that I don't know if you've ever actually been asked before, and I don't know how you're going to answer it, but I'm actually curious myself. Put out by our good friend of the show here, Bruce Stark. How would you describe your palate?
Um, how would I describe? Well, first off, look, all of us like to think we have great palate. Just human nature, right? We like to think that our palates are the best palates. So I'm guilty of that same sin. Look, there's definitely things that I like in cigars. I like things that are earthy. I like things that are chocolatey. I like things that are coffee. I like things that have a natural sweetness to them. I like things that have texture. I like for the smoke to be heavy, dense, chewy. I like for there to be, I tend to lean towards baking spices. Those type of spices really suit my fancy, but measured, not too much. But baking spices, um, I tend to fall. I like peppery spicy, but not super peppery spicy. I'm the guy that doesn't like ultra hot sauces. I'm the guy that likes the more flavorful hot sauces where there's some zing to it. I can feel it, but it doesn't become the primary factor for me. Um, I tend to not be as big on hay notes. I tend not to be as big on leather notes. I tend to not be as big on uh, super sharp pepper notes. I'm definitely not as big on super sharp pepper notes. Uh, so I mean, it's pretty boring, the type of stuff that I like. It's a rather simple thing. I mean,
I like dark chocolate, but I don't like super dark chocolate. You know
You
what I
don't
mean?
like the nasal busters for the retrohale, is
I
what I
do not.
noticed.
I do not like nasal busters at all. I don't like a cigar that pains me to smoke. I like cigars, even when they're strong and they're robust. I like smooth. I always want it to be smooth. And I think this is something that most cigar smokers, again, going back to the gentleman who's 20 cigars in, what we all tend to do as cigar smokers is we tend to keep escalating up the octane level. And
Mhm.
as you get more into cigars, there's going to be a point that, somewhere he's going to get to a point where he's just going to want stronger, stronger, stronger. And you get to a point where there'll be like a 3 to 5 year stretch where if it isn't like melt my face, it isn't good. You just literally crave that super uber harsh, peppery sharpness. But my experience is that most serious cigar smokers, they tend to dial back a little bit. They tend to go, okay, I want to drift back a little because they realize that you're giving for that strength and for that octane and for that peppery spiciness, you're giving up so much flavor, right? But it takes you a while to realize that. The other thing too is you finally get to a point where you can't find a stronger cigar. We can't make a stronger cigar. It's physically impossible. So therefore, look, and for it to still burn and stay lit, right? So you get to a point where you hit the top of the octane curve and you can't find anything. And so I think that most serious, or not be serious, but lifelong cigar smokers, almost always they end up like going back down the strength curve a little bit. And they tend to find that most of the cigars that they really smoke a lot of tend to be more in that medium full. Might still be full body, might still be very rich, but it isn't that kind of like really sharp, biting kind of style of cigar, you know. And particularly when you smoke multiples every day. Um, and then what'll end up happening is, and I'm the same way, I'll occasionally sprinkle in my face melters here and there, but I'm not smoking those cigars all the time. Whereas if you talk to me in 2002, 2003, I mean, I just wanted everything to just pretty much, make me squeal and cry in pain was the cigars that I was really into. But I think everybody eventually, most, again, I'm talking stereotypically, right? There's nothing that's ironclad, but I find that most hardcore cigar people eventually drift back. And not only do
Mhm.
they drift back into lower octane, but they do then start to find themselves appreciating mild cigars again. That they find a place in their smoking repertoire within their rotation. That there actually is a place for a brulee blue, a diamond crowned, a Monte Cristo white, whatever. They're going to find out that there's a point where that actually makes sense to them. I mean, look, I I I love a brulee toro with a morning espresso.
Oh,
It's a really good combination.
if
It's
I
like,
could smoke the brulee every morning, I would. And I'm
yeah,
and that's not an exaggeration. I'm just gonna say I know you released it now shut the hell up. And it would be awesome if you re-release something like that because I would love to try that sampler myself. But
yeah. I don't think we're going to do
I
that sampler, but
love that
we're gonna
cigar.
we're gonna do a sweet tipped Connecticut in the near future. It's always been on the program to do it. The problem I have is we make so many brulees now that I'm running into the umbagog situation. Whereas I have to manage. So originally, when we started making umbagogs, we used to only make umbagogs like every 3 or 4 months, as we would get wrapper that was of that lower quality from the Mickey Rita and the other broadleaf production to make umbagogs. Now we make umbagogs all the time because we make so many broadleaf cigars between Mickey Rita, Tricky Traca, Black, Red Meat Lovers, et cetera, et cetera. We make so many broadleaf cigars that we now are basically making umbagogs all the time, all the moments. I've run into that problem now with brulee. We make so many brulee that I'm now ending up with a lot of wrapper that it's still perfectly good wrapper. It's still from the same crop. It just isn't brulee perfect. It isn't as clean as I want. I basically want, when someone opens a box of brulee, I want it to be as clean as a box of Davidoff, with one difference. I want it to be slightly a hue darker, because I like the slightly darker Connecticut that's more of a BW brown wrapper grade than what they use. They use what I would classify as an LW, a light wrapper grade. I tend to prefer the Connecticut's that have just a slightly darker hue, but I still want it to be as clean. I want it to be as pristine. And now we make so many brulees that I'm stacking up a lot of wrapper that doesn't qualify, in my opinion, to go on a brulee, but it's perfectly good wrapper. So I need a vehicle. I've been selling that wrapper second on the secondary market, but I don't get nearly the value that it's worth, because I've basically creamed the crop and taken all the very best out of it. So we need a counterpoint to brulee, like an Umbagog is a counterpoint for our broadleaf production. So, and the best mechanism for that Connecticut shade smoker to do that is to make a sweet tipped Connecticut that's like, definitely, like, there'll be no, like, the cigar is called Lucky Postman. It's going to be the cigar that always delivers the sweet. That's what it's going to be.
Hold on. Did you just announce something? A name of a cigar? Hold on. Okay. Breaking news, everybody. Steve released the name of the sweet tip cigar. So please, what was it again?
It's going to be called Lucky Postman.
Lucky Postman. And why was it going to be called Lucky Postman?
Because it's the cigar that always delivers the sweet.
That's awesome. Okay, everybody. First here, world exclusive release on the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Lucky Postman.
I don't think that the average Dunbarton customer, where the average Dunbarton customer is going to smoke an Umbagog, I think Lucky Postman is for an entirely different consumer, right? Just the same way as Stillwell is for.
Are you going for acid smokers at that point?
No, it's not
a little less.
No, acid's. This is a traditional cigar. It just happens to be sweet tip.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is nothing. This is more. It'll basically be a better grade of a Baccarat or a Nat Sherman Host or something like that kind of classification. And originally, again, because I'm using it as a way to cost amortize my material costs, we're going to originally just do it in one size. It's going to be just a simple, you think I would know the size off the top of my head, but roughly I think it's like right around 5.5 by 50. You know,
that's a great size. I mean, that's a great size.
You know?
Chris actually asked a quick question here I wanted to get to, because I'm actually curious about this too. And I'm looking for the question here, right here. Would the brulee work? The great Chris Duque, the first year of release, Chris Duque, would the brulee work in a small format?
I personally don't think the brulee is as good in a small format, but guess what? You're going to get to determine that yourself, because this year we're going to release a Corona sampler, and I haven't picked the final Coronas that are going to go in it. In fact, that was part of the reason for this trip here to Nika at the end of the year, to go through all the Corona samplers. The problem, you notice how I keep wiping my nose? I have a bit of a head cold going on. So I'm smoking because I'm an addict, but I can't taste anything really right now. So I haven't been able to smoke the samples. So I'm basically, if Customs is watching, I'm coming into the country with about 800 cigars. So I'll have the paperwork. I'll pay the taxes. Anyways, yeah, I'm coming into the country with about 800 samples. There's a likelihood that you will probably see a brulee Corona 5x44 in the Corona sampler for next year.
Wow, people, two massive announcements here, because I have not heard that yet. You talk about the brulee in the small format. two massive announcements at the end of the year. Steve never disappoints. Let me tell you, we've got the Lucky Postman.
Yeah, we made it to the end of the program. What, you have like 4 live viewers now? So yeah,
No, Steve,
more people know.
I've got 60 live viewers just on one format alone. I
Really?
guarantee you this show's probably going to be at about 400 or 500 views in the next 24 hours.
Yeah,
You
but
know what
we're
I've
gonna do,
noticed? I've
so
pulled your
the
numbers.
thing, it's like the Lanceros. We can't get retailers to buy them and stock
I
them,
bought 2 boxes.
right? And it's the same thing with Coronas. They won't buy them and stock them, right? Because there's not enough consumers. But if I make a Corona sampler where there's like, Mi Querida and, a variety of our blends in there in a Corona format, then that's something that the retailer will be willing to bring in. And it also give the opportunity for consumers, because look, I'd love to make Coronas in all of our blends. And we've had them in the past. We used to have a Corona Gorda in Sobremesa, and it was one of the best cigars, a Corona Grande. But the problem was it was a very slow seller. And the reason it was a slow seller wasn't because the stores that had it didn't sell well with it. It's because very few stores were willing to put it on their shelves because they're just unwilling to carry Coronas, right? So that's the dilemma with Coronas. And so I think that if I do a Corona sampler where there's 5 or 6 different blends in one sampler, a pair of each. Look, I haven't decided yet. I got to go through all these samples and figure out how I'm going to format it and what I'm going to do. And I have a couple Coronas that I have made over the years for Muestra de Saka that were really, really good that I never released because, again, the retailer's not going to buy. If I make a Muestra de Saka and I make a Corona, they're not going to buy it. So even if it's great, they're not going to put it on the shelf. So it also gives me a way to take, 1 or maybe 2 of these like really cherry Corona, blends that I have made that were made specifically as Coronas and be able to share them with our Dunbarton customers in a format from a commercial point of view that the retailers will actually be willing to buy and stock. And, maybe if there's 1 or 2 out of there that, enough people really love, maybe there'll be enough demand that maybe I can force it down the throats of retailers to give it shelf space. But I don't think I will be able to because they just won't stock it. And that's the dilemma that we have. I mean, it's one thing to make stuff, but if the retailer isn't willing to put it on the shelf, if they're not willing to give it space, it doesn't matter how great it is. And that was the experience that I had. Look, very few retailers are willing to buy Lanceros, but almost every Dunbarton retailer was willing to buy the Lancero sampler.
Well, yeah, I mean, I bought 2. And Chris, you asked about a Brulee Blue Lancero. Now, you're much closer to Steve than I am, and would probably have much more. But I could probably assume
it won't be a Brulee Blue Lancero because a Corona, because that would have meant that I would have had to have made it 16 months ago, because Brulee Blues require a year of aging. So it's not possible for that to be part of the Corona sampler.
Well, Steve, here at we have the new cigar smoker that's watching the show. Forgive me, I'm terrible with what Elazar's was asking. Why don't manufacturers make samplers in cigarello size so we could try everything? I was going to say because it's too hard, personally, but
no, it's not this. First off, if you have to understand that when you make something in a cigarillo size and you put a brand name on it, it has nothing to do with the blend at all. It's just putting the brand name on something. Because cigarillos they're not a blend.
No.
Cigarillos are chopped with the same wrapper on it that you end up just giving the name, whatever Partagas or whatever name they put on it. So cigarillos really have very little relationship to the blend that has that parent name on it. It just has the parent name on it. It's a totally different consumer.
They don't even taste the same.
Not at all. There's never a time a cigarillo tastes like it's just completely far removed. But yeah, I think that, but I think there'll be enough interest in a Corona sampler that it will. I think it may even generate more interest. I don't know. Maybe it won't generate as much as the Lancero sampler. I don't know. We'll find out. We're going to the trade show. We're going to offer it to our retailers. We'll see what they bite on and what they don't bite on.
So what are you? What are? Forgive me. What do you call your Corona size? The 6x48, right?
I do all of my prototype blending pretty much in 6x52.
But 6x48 is the Steve Saka size. It's the size.
6x48 is my size.
So why not release a 6x48 collection?
Well, because we have 6x48s in everything. I guess we eventually can. I mean, if you look at the deep cut sampler, how many of those cigars in there are 6x48?
Quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few.
Quite a few. I mean, that definitely is the size that I most attribute to you when I see 6x48.
And the fact that we get away with that's miraculous. I mean, that kind of shows the power of, I don't know if it shows the power of the brand. I think it actually shows more the reflection of the consumers of the brand that the Dunbarton customer is willing to smoke a 6x48, right? Because the reality, most companies, they don't have a lot of 48 ring gauge cigars. They really don't.
No, they don't.
Okay, you'll find there's a couple. You'll find a few tats here and there. You'll find a few pepines here and there. You'll find a couple Fuentes, but we pretty much have something that's in that near 6x48 range in almost every single one of our brands, because it is a size that I really love. And it's a size that maybe gets a little extra TLC because I really love the format. And it's a size that does really, really well for us. In fact, I've seen some people even call it a Saka cigar, the shape that it's a
Saka size.
Yeah, because it's not like it's rare, but it kind of is, because again, retailers don't want to stock it, man. They just do not want to stock a 6x48. Their attitude is, why isn't it a 6x52?
See, that's lack of, in my opinion, that's lack of education on their side.
Yeah, no, look, they're responding to the market. They know that, and I've always said this, if you make Robusto, Toro, and a Gordo, that's 85% of all the sales in almost every brand.
Correct.
Everything else, you add all the other sizes together, Coronas, Diademas, Perfectos, Torpedos, Bellicosos, Lanceros, Coronas, Lonsdales, they all add up to 15%. So if a retailer is just looking at what's the value of this space on my shelf, do I want to put a 6x48 there? No, I don't want to put a 6x48 there. I'd rather have another brand in a Toro or another brand in a Robusto than waste that spot on a 6x48. And the fact that we at Dunbarton get away with so many 6x48s is really entirely driven by the consumers. The fact that so many Dunbarton customers really appreciate the size that allows us to be able to get away with it. But that's the only reason why. And that's the thing, you know. Look, it's one thing when it's the online guys. Of course, for them, it's just another database entry and a little bit of space in their warehouse. But here's the problem. If the brick and mortar guys don't carry it, then how does the consumer get exposed to it, decide they like it enough that they then go to the online vendor to eventually buy the cigar? So even though the online vendor may be willing to carry it, if it doesn't get enough exposure at ground zero where the consumer gets to sample and try, then it doesn't matter how good or great it is. So, I mean, yeah, the Encedros, the Sober Mesa Encedros is an excellent cigar. I saw that comment fly by that you highlighted. It's actually, of the Sober Mesa Salida outside of the red, it's my number one Sober Mesa for me, and it's 7x50.
Red's incredible.
I really love the Churchill and Cedros. It's a fantastic cigar, but you notice it doesn't get a lot of love online. It really doesn't.
I think it's because it's a Churchill. I think some people are intimidated by Churchills because now you've got the time commitment. They look at it and go, "Oh, it's a 2-hour cigar."
And I also think that the guy that's smoking the large 7-inch in length, he wants a 54 to a 60. And that's retailers responding to what the consumers are pulling off the shelf.
No, I would absolutely agree with you. So as we're going into the last drawing, if you haven't already typed in 3 words, word of Saka, that will be for the last drawing. So if you're still typing in deep cuts like I'm seeing, it's word of Saka. We're on to the next thing already. So this is going to make you work a little bit more for this, but we've got the sign to go first. And just so everybody sees,
Yeah.
it is unboxed in the original Dunbarton box that actually has Dunbarton canvas on it. And I dropped my cigar and don't know where it went. So let me find it.
I'm gonna tell you what. You're gonna hate when you go to ship that to someone when you find out how much it costs to ship one of those damn things.
I already shipped it. It was like $7.
Oh, that was a great price.
Yeah, it was through FedEx, and I don't know where my cigar went.
Really? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was like $7 or $8 because the weight of it wasn't.
No, it doesn't weigh anything. It's.
And I don't know where I knocked my cigar out of my ashtray. I'll find it later. Hopefully, it doesn't burn my plate.
That's crazy. I do that all the time. You're on mute again, or something died on my end.
It's still in the Dunbarton canvas box, unopened, so there's no smoke on it or anything.
Oh,
So-
there's definitely smoke on it. If it came in my office, everything stinks.
Well,
of
yeah,
smoke.
yeah. Well, the box will stink of smoke for sure. Oh, there it is. It fell in the catcher on my thing. All right, so let's go ahead and do that drawing right now. We've got first winner of the last two prizes, Dan Grillo. Dan Grillo. Dan,
Congratulations, Dan.
reach out to me. Let me know your address and shirt size, as I will also be sending you a Rocky Mountain Cigar Show shirt. Now, I have one request. Everybody that wins tonight, please do me a favor. Post your winnings, wear your shirt, tag Steve, tag Dunbarton, tag this show. If you know my name, Ryan Miller, and you're friends with me on Facebook, if you're not, reach out. I'll accept you. Tag me, and I would love to be able to see everybody getting all their stuff before Christmas. And I know Steve always likes seeing everybody.
You know what else I would
flash
encourage
his
them
stuff.
to do?
Go ahead.
Just take an extra 4 seconds and check your address. You have no idea how many people ship you their address and they screw up their own address.
Yes, they
Like
do.
they put typos in their own address. It's just nuts. Like, dude, just do us a favor. Like, you know, when you send your address in, just take a moment and just double check it and make sure you got that zip code right. Because it turns out to be such a disaster when it isn't.
It certainly does. You got one shot. If it comes back to me, it's mine. If I get
Yeah.
returned to sender, I'll send it back to Steve. All right, last winner of the night for the last Dunbarton giveaway that I have, and I am cleaned out, Steve. You give me enough that I am able to do my birthday episode, another show with you for the year, and then the annual SakaClaus has kind of been tradition here for the last 3 years. So last winner for the night is Connor Mullen. Connor,
Wow.
way to
I
go.
was like, Connor doesn't have one of those ashtrays.
He might, but he just won another one.
Connor's a big patron.
He just won.
I will say of all the Dunbarton swag, the crystal ashtray is by far the rarest of the rare.
I agree.
There's
And it's
nothing-
gorgeous.
There's nothing rarer than the crystal ashtray.
I've actually, okay.
I mean, maybe some of the prototype mugs, but most of the ones that are like prototype ones that we don't end up making are actually not that attractive. So same thing with prototype hats. Yeah, there's some prototype hats, but again, they're the uglier hats that we didn't actually ever make any of. But actually, like really, this is like the shit. The ashtray, the crystal ashtray, is by far the rarest of the items, and it's actually. Is this true? The crystal ashtray actually costs more to make than a mega squatch. The mega squatch is probably the rarest. I mean, there's actually more mega squatches out there in retailers. But yeah, I think the ashtray definitely costs more than a damn mega squatch.
This is the crystal ashtray, and it is absolutely amazing. Now, this one's mine. Connor, yours is sealed and unopened, I promise you. This one is mine. But it is absolutely a fantastic ashtray. And maybe next year, Steve, you'll let me give away a King Squatch. Who knows?
Yeah.
You've
Problem with the
always
King
been super
Squatch is
generous.
if you give away a King Squatch, you're gonna want to just let me ship it, because for me to ship it to you and then you to you're gonna hate that, because it costs like $75 to ship those things.
That's fine. I'd love to give a King Squatch away next year. I think
Yeah.
that would be fantastic. So Steve, last question of the night here. If you had one of your cigars for the rest of your life on an island, unlimited supply, never
Yeah.
run out, what would it be?
Just one?
Just one.
I got two.
Go ahead.
It would either be a Micallef Saka Khan, or it would be a Tricky Traka 648.
Okay, I'm actually surprised by that. I figured you'd say a Sin or something like that.
No, those are, yeah. I smoke a lot. I smoke a lot of Tricky Traka 648s.
They're
I really do.
fantastic. I mean, they're a bolder version of that cigar. It's great.
But oddly enough, it's the only Tricky Traka that I smoke a lot of. I always default to the 648 over any of the other sizes.
Not surprised.
Where it was like with Saka Khan, I'll smoke a pop of Saka just as equally as I'll smoke a Saka Khan, or I'll smoke a Micallef Ancho Largo or a Fino Largo, or I'll smoke a Red Meat Lovers for Tonga. But when it comes to Tricky Traka, for my own personal smoking, it's very rare that I reach for another Tricky Traka other than a 648. There's something about that cigar that just, I don't know, it just seems to always work for me.
Well, it's an absolutely fantastic cigar. I'm a huge fan of it. The Tricky Traka is my favorite of that. It's just I do like the little bit heavier pepper. I do like the little bit more robust.
Yeah.
And Ed actually made a comment here that is 100% correct, Steve. The Saka Diehl is, in fact, the rarest Dunbarton thing. And there are some floating between you and Abe, because you had
I have
mentioned that
one.
earlier
Abe
this year.
has one, unless he lied to me, which he might have lied to me. He says he only kept one. My granddaughter has one. Yeah, they're right. They're pretty rare. They're pretty awful.
Connor's over here saying he couldn't send his address and shirt size quick enough. Thank you so much. And for everybody that spent your night with me, this is the last show of the year. We'll return. Let me see here. When do we actually return?
It's good because I get to go eat.
Right?
I've been dying over here. They cooked. They barbecued a suckling piglet over here.
Oh,
So I've been smelling. Yeah, it's actually from Perdomo's farm. Nelson brought one of their piglets over that they butchered, and so I'm going to eat Perdomo pig. So shout out to Nick Perdomo. Thank you, Nick. I'm looking forward to your pig.
Well, Steve's going to go shout out on some amazing suckling pig. The next show, guys, will be January 22nd, and it will be with Steve Allen, who is a comedian, who's a cousin of mine. We'll have him on the show. So, Steve, thank you so much for making this a tradition on the show and doing a SakaClaus episode every December. And thank you very much for believing in the show and partnering with the show as well. Really
I appreciate
it.
No,
of course. Of course. And until we see you all again, which will be next year, smoke what you like. Have a great Christmas and a great New Year. Smoke as often as you can, and that means as many fucking Dunbarton cigars as you can over the next month to see you. And we'll see you in the new year. Bye, everyone. Take care.